Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Ian Carlos Crawford.
And I'm Zachary Patton Garcia, and she is the girl with the microphone on Instagram.
Hey, everybody. I'm Kate.
Hi, Kate.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're here to discuss the Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 3 episode Faith, Hope, and Trick, which introduce our favorite second Slayer, Faith. And before we get into the episode, Kate, what is your Buffy origin story? I haven't been able to ask someone that in a while.
Yeah.
So like how I came to it?
Yes.
It's very blurry because I have terrible memory, but I know I started watching in high school, and I think it's tied to the fact that my best friend and I were like baby closeted gays at the time. And it was right around like the Tara and Willow storyline. That's really when I got locked in. I don't think I watched it all the way through until later in life, but I remember that blowing out the candle scene like it was yesterday. So that's definitely when I really locked in on Buffy and fell in love.
Yeah.
But okay, so we revisited Faith, Hope, and Trick. Kate, what did you think revisiting it this time? Like a real quick overview. How did you feel revisiting it?
It was awesome. So I haven't done a rewatch in a while. So I mean, this was just diving right in. And I will say this is a great episode for introductions, like surprise introductions, right? Because we start with Trick and we don't know he's a vampire, right? We don't know what's going on there. But that's another one of my favorite characters that gets introduced here. So it's like a twofer in this episode, which was great. And then you have Faith sort of hiding in plain sight in the bronze. So I really liked the multiple watchability of this episode where you can pick up on little things that you didn't see the first time.
I do love that there are like little details that like don't matter if you notice them, but are just like fun to notice on a rewatch, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Zach, what do you think revisiting this episode?
This was one that was... So I've told this before, but when I was younger, when I was a kid, every birthday I would get my birthday money and go buy Buffy the Vampire Slayer season. Season 3 was one of the first ones that I bought. I loved season 3. I loved Faith, and this was an episode that I would jump around episodes. I didn't just do a full watch through every single time, and I would play this episode all the time. I loved this episode, and watching it, just every time I watch it, I noticed like new little things. And Alistair, my husband, I was watching it with him today before we recorded here, and he was like pointing out Faith in the, on the dance floor. And I know I'd seen it before, but it just like hit me different this time, where I was like, yeah, she's there. She's, but we don't know she's there. We're not supposed to know as the audience watching it for the very first time. And it's so exciting like that, right?
Yes. And I love shit like that they do on the show. I feel like they do that a lot on the show where the character is like there, but we don't know the character yet. So we don't like know that they're there. Revisiting it, like so Zach, I know you're a big Faith gal. Kate, how do you feel about Faith?
I have an opinion about Faith that I do not see very often. Okay. And that is that I think that she and Willow should have gotten together.
I do not see.
I'm against it. Yes.
But listen, like in the final season, they are both like reformed baddies. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like Faith always had that lesbian energy. And I was hoping that she was at least bisexual, because she's just a very sexual being. It felt like she could have been someone that was just attracted to people's vibes, right?
Yeah.
And I was always so disappointed that never happened. And so that, my opinion is, Faith is super hot, and I wish that she had gotten with Willow in the final season instead of who. She must not be named.
I can buy them hooking up, because I absolutely think Faith is bi.
Yeah.
And I think Willow post show would have been on her own sort of like sexual magical journey, and I could see them hooking up. I could definitely see them hooking up, but I don't think that they would have ever been like relationship goals.
Yeah. I think I'm just going off like the charisma they have. They don't have a ton of scenes together, but when they do, just crackling chemistry, So I was always like, just kiss already.
Yeah.
So we begin the episode with they're about to walk off campus for like lunch, which was that at any of your high schools? Because
yes, we could leave. So for senior year, we could leave campus for lunch. So that was very exciting.
Not me.
I always thought that was like a strict Catholic school, because I went to Catholic school for the first 2 years of high school, and that was a big deal that like you could leave campus if you were a senior. Like the seniors in the Catholic school I was at, they had like sections at lunch for each of the grades, and the seniors had booths, and it was the smallest section because they were allowed to leave. And I always thought that was like a specific to Catholic school thing, because then the public high school I went to did not have that. But yes, I think this is cute. I like that Willow is like, oh, I'm so excited. And then it's like, oh, actually, she's just nervous because she doesn't want to get in trouble.
And she's also just walking across the street. Like, calm down, Willow. You're fine.
The anxiety of what if they change the rules? I love that.
See, my junior year, I wasn't allowed to like leave campus because I wasn't a senior yet. And we would just hide in the trunks of people's cars and they would take us off campus. And so a much different experience than Willow Rosenberg here.
It's nice seeing the four of them as like, we don't get much time of them as a happy like couple foursome unit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like nice seeing them. I mean, it's not like, I never would have been like, oh, Cordelia and Xander are Endgame or Oz and Willow, but it's just nice seeing them like, okay, no one's cheated on anyone. No one hates anyone. We're cool. I like this version of the Scoobies. It's like nice and chill.
Buffy's making lunch in pastels.
And
on the lawn.
And I like when Oz is like, all right, uncoupling, and like, what is it? Like, they say, maybe we shouldn't be too coupley in front of Buffy, and Cordy's like, does she have to put her ex down like a dog?
Yeah, nice recap, Cordy. Thank you.
There's Cordy. Thank you.
And they have their little picnic, and I was like, oh, right, it's Anya who says Martha. Doesn't she say Martha Stewart's a like demon or a witch later on, I think, in like season 6?
Yes. Yeah.
But so they're talking about, they like call she's being Martha Stewart, but she's not a Slayer. And Oz is like, I hear she chooses not to slay. And what do we all think of Scott Hope?
We're judging him from here, though. So he's fine here. Like, he's cute. He's Buffy's, he could be a little future for Buffy. Not like, lifetime goals, but Buffy needs to get over the demon boyfriend that she had to drive a sword through. This could be it.
Yeah. I don't know. What did I say about him? I said he's annoying. I think just like the self-deprecation, but that was such the dialogue that he has. It's such like a time capsule of the late 90s, like that sardonic kind of self-deprecation, right? But it's just like over the top, and the Buster Keaton thing. I'm just like, you're just too pretentious. It's definitely an overcorrection. Definitely an overcorrection from Angel. But
she needs a little flirt, though. She needs a little like butterflies in her stomach, and any way she can get it, I need her to get it right. I do love that they bring him up as gay later, because he reads.
He does.
Like a little baby.
Very gay. Yes. And is he Canadian? That was a thought I had. I wonder if he's Canadian.
I think he is, because he was in Queer as Folk.
Okay, because I heard a sorry. I heard a sorry in there, and I was like, oh, Canadian. Okay.
So then we cut to a limo driving into a fast food joint, drive-through, and we meet Mr. Trick, who, like, every time that Todd K. Freeman is very good as this character, I think. Mm-hmm. And I do wish he would have stuck around, because I think it would have been cool if the mayor had Mr. Trick as his like vampire henchman, and then
isn't it?
Yeah, for a lot longer.
Really, yeah.
And something I never noticed before, he actually is just getting a Diet Coke, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, I decided I'm hungry," and then eats the like dude working the drive-through window.
I like to prepare or pretend that this is the Double Meat Palace. I just close my eyes whenever it shows the name of the restaurant.
Post credits, Buffy is dreaming about Angel because David Boreanaz is still in the credits, so we have to get a few dreams about him. Buffy wakes up, and we get Joyce asking her if she's ready to face the Beast because they are going to see Principal Spider.
I fucking love this scene.
Yes.
I love it.
The thing is, we don't get a lot of moments where Buffy and Joyce get to be a united front, and I love seeing them be a united front, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is another time that they've been a united front against Snyder, right?
Yes.
Because when they're trapped in the classroom and Spike's going after everybody, they're like, shut the fuck up, Snyder. Yeah. My daughter knows what she's doing,
Yes, because that's when Snyder tells her, he's like, oh, I can see the, resemblance. Mm-hmm, and Joyce, is like, fuck you. So then she goes to Giles, and here we get the setup for which I think is a really good emotional beat, that he like is lying about a spell, but he's doing it just so she can talk about what happened.
I love Giles that so much. Good. I love it so much. That piece it might be my favorite.
Right?
I just love it so much.
So yes, he tells Buffy about this spell he has to do whatever, close the vortex, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I do like that when she's like, are you mad? And he's like, no, if I were, I'd be making that clucking noise with my tongue. Like,
such good writing.
It really is. And I like, it's not just it's like the acting too. Like, right, there's a way an actor like would flub all of this and it would not work. Like with these snappy lines.
Totally.
Cut to the bronze.
Ooh, this is the part.
This is the part. Buffy, she says, hello, my life, how I've missed you. She's bringing Willow and Oz drinks. I think it's very cute when Scott swings by and he's like, oh, Willow told me to come that you would be here. Like Willow is the one that even when she's like, yeah, she has her moments, but like they are good best friends, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like cute that she just wants Buffy to be happy. So she's like, oh, this cute guy that likes her. Sure, I'm going to tell him to come by so he can see my best friend. Like,
I'll start asking Scott to come by for you, Ian.
Thanks. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. The thing I didn't notice, at least it's possible I noticed and I fucking forgot because of my weed-soaked brain, but I noticed this time around that like when Faith is fighting the vampire, they're playing like an extreme guitar riff version of the Buffy theme song. Like it comes in and out of like the beginning.
Oh,
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
Did you say you did or didn't, Zach?
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay. Yeah. And it's like not the whole thing. It's just like the opening guitar riffs, but like made extreme. But also I think this is like a fucking iconic entrance, right? Like I love that it's them, Buffy running out to save, this innocent, bystander, and the rest of the Scoobies are running after her. And I mean, I didn't even think about it, Kate, but you're right. It very much is like the Darla parallel in season 1, because you think the Scoobies need to go save this person who absolutely does not need saving. And Eliza Dushku's like confidence as Faith, which, is a little bit put upon, but like, I love the like, it's okay, I got it. You're Buffy, right? I'm Faith. And then she like fucking headbutts the vampire from behind.
Effortless.
Yes. And Oz being like, I think it's safe to say there's a new Slayer in town. Like, I fucking love it. I love it. Right?
Yeah. Amazing entrance. And it's tough to come into an ensemble, you know, and I think that's been going for 2 years and change.
Right.
And she just eats every single scene. I mean, she crushes it. It's a great entrance for Faith for sure.
Yeah. And she like grabs the stake. And then even the way, like after she stakes the vampire and she walks away and she's like, thanks, B, couldn't have done it without you. And she's like being kind of shitty, but it's like so iconic. I love it.
It's good stuff.
It's very East Coast, so I love it.
Yeah. Give us moments that would fit well in a fan cam, right? And this is just the beginning to every fan cam.
Yes.
About Faith.
Hell yeah.
Then we cut to Faith with the Scoobies talking about naked wrestling of an alligator, and there's a priest.
This is absolute, and I know we're supposed to say it later, but this is absolutely my favorite scene of the entire episode. I love everybody just so enamored by her and like so into her stories, and she is just center of attention, and it's like so casual about it as well,
Yes.
And then you have Buffy, who's a little salty.
And you're right. It's like the casual and like she's just eating something. She's just like telling the story. There are a lot of iconic lines here because, we get the like, isn't it crazy how slang always makes you hungry and horny? And Buffy's like, I love the look on the Scooby's face when they all turn. They all have like great looks on their face to look at Buffy. And she's like, I sometimes crave a non-fat yogurt after. Like, I think that's iconic.
Yeah.
So Cordy comes, she encounters Scott Hope, right? And this is where it's like, oh yes, this feels like teens, right? When she's like, oh, I know you from somewhere. And she's like clearly like being flirty, but that's how she's being flirty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That felt very like when you're 16 or 17 and like, you want to talk to someone. And you're just like, oh, do I know you? I feel like I did that with like boys I thought were cute that were not gay. Buffy very cutely comes running down the steps and is like, I'm 2 for 2 on makeup tests. And then sees that Faith and Scott Hope are talking.
Mm-hmm.
And as a person of jealous experience, I like really feel for Buffy in this episode.
A person of jealous experience. It's a really nice way to say it.
Because, like, Buffy, she did turn him down, but, like, he's kind of the guy she likes. She's just not ready yet. And I do like when Willow accidentally recites what Faith says, and she's like, you need to find the fun, Buffy.
Oh my gosh, it's so great. It's so great.
Buffy, yeah.
I love Faith wearing the red pants too in this one because we do get a gradual sort of mixing of personalities between the two in Buffy, and by the end of the season, that's a Faith outfit. Like she's dressed like Faith would dress.
Agreed.
It's a nice little foreshadowing.
I really liked her outfit in this scene. I think her hair looks great. Her makeup looks great. I like that white top with the little design on it. We cut to Mr. Trick and we finally see Kakistos's face. He kind of we learn he's kind of like the master, I guess, because he's got he's so old and got a more monstery normal face.
Is this a safe space? He looks kind of cute to me. I don't know. I'm into it. I'm like, you don't look that bad. You look like Gerard Butler in the Phantom of the Opera. Like, if you take the mask off and it's not crazy looking.
Zach, I had no idea what you were going to say when you said, is this a safe space? I was like, where could this be going?
I did not expect thirsting for Kakistos to
I'll
happen.
give a little toast if I need to.
How about taquitos?
Okay, I have been podcasting with Zach for what, Zach? 3 years? 3 years?
Oh my God, it feels like a millennium.
Because you love me so much. That's why it feels like a millennium.
Oh, yes.
Zach can he can pull my taste out to a T. He would could look at a crowd and be like, that's the one Ian likes. Zach throws me for a loop every time he says someone's cute. I'm like, this person doesn't relate to the other person. I can never nail
think about
down
it. I'm like,
taste.
Kakistos, throw me around a little bit,
With them cloven hooves.
I don't want those hooves going anywhere near my parts.
Or on my sheets.
Yes, they're probably real dirty. So we learn that Faith gave him his scar. He's there because of Faith. And then Mr. Trick eats a pizza delivery man.
Yes, consistent.
Yes. And then we get the scene at the Summers home where Faith is over for dinner. And I do love everything here.
But I just can't help but think okay, nobody offers her a room then. Or what are we doing here?
Well, Dawn is already there.
I guess so. But not even the basement, nothing. We have nothing. You don't have anybody. She could have mentioned the gallery. She could have mentioned anything. This is a 17-year-old. We need to figure out where the 17-year-old is staying,
Yeah.
But I guess
they routinely treat her just as an adult that's blown into town.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. As a teenager, I thought, and because when you're a teenager, it's harder to tell ages. I thought Faith was supposed to be 20. I was like, she's older. That's why, blah, blah, blah. But no, she's supposed to be at least their age, if not a year or two younger or older, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess in Joyce's mind, if Joyce can rationalize Faith being older and more capable, then it's a little hopeful for her in picturing Buffy that way.
Yeah.
Because she also is still reconciling with the fact that this is who Buffy is, and she's really scared about who Buffy is, and the danger that Buffy faces. There is a line also where she says, Buffy can be pretty negative sometimes. And I just pictured me and Ian. I was like, Ian's negative sometimes. Yeah. We've had that conversation a lot.
We have. But I do like that Joyce likes her. I was thinking about all the it's weird that Faith and Spike are who are the wild card the bad girl, bad boy, but they get along with Joyce. I kind of love that.
Well, I feel they both have pretty serious mommy issues. I mean, we know about Spike's mommy issues,
True.
Right? So I just feel they're drawn to a safety in Joyce, and I think Joyce likes to care for people. So to me, it makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is the fact that Joyce doesn't really offer to help her at all. At all.
and they've had enough private moments together. When Buffy goes off because Angel's being dramatic later in the season and has to leave Christmas, and Faith spends time with Buffy's mom, right? Faith spends a lot of time with her, but Joyce, I wish we could have seen Joyce take to Faith like a daughter, like a mother to the daughter, right? But I don't think we ever sort of reached that, which is kind of sad, because it would have made that part in 4 when Faith kind of holds Joyce hostage a little bit more emotional.
Yeah. So then we cut to them patrolling. And I also always forget how quickly it escalates. Like, when I got to that scene, I was like, oh, this isn't where they start arguing. But then it is. They, like, immediately start arguing.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm going to sound maybe insane, but I do feel like even when they're arguing, it's a little bit, like, it feels a little, like, sexual tension-y.
As the lesbian in the room, I agree.
All right, good. I thought you were saying as a lesbian in the room, Ian, get a fucking grip.
No. Kiss or fight or something. Goddamn.
Right?
Let's go.
That's like when she's like, why are your lips still moving? F. Did I hear a threat? Would you like to? Like, I'm like,
It's there. It's there.
And then again, a thing that I like, which they always do is like, okay, but then they're ambushed and they fight. Like, Buffy's like, okay, let's do this. Like, Buffy's still not like, oh, fuck you. She's like, okay, let's fight together, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of when we start to see that Faith maybe has some, you know, trauma because she's beating so hard on that vampire and not helping Buffy, but not on purpose, not helping Buffy, just like
Has
really
like gotten sucked into this moment. Yeah. Buffy also in this scene, it's so strange, the choreography here, right? Because Buffy is moving like if you were fighting in a dream. How you like move kind of real slow. It was really funny to watch. Like the way she pulls like Faith off of that vampire, she's like moving like she's just taking a bunch of Vicodin. It's not fast at all. But she's like getting her ass kicked by two vampires, and Faith cannot bring herself out of this moment.
Yeah.
That she's clearly reliving something over and over again, right?
Yes. Which
she's doing what she couldn't do, right?
My poor Faith.
Oof, yeah.
Then we, you know, it's fine. Everyone's good. And then we cut to the next day, which I do love. It reminds, there's a bit in season 4 where they like Buffy and Giles kind of rehash this when Buffy's talking about her roommate, Kathy. And I like when Buffy's kind of like, you know, because the back and forth is she doesn't have a life here like you do. And Buffy says she doesn't need a life. She has mine. And Giles says, I think you're being a little. And she says, no, I'm being a lot. I know that. This is like the shit I love with Buffy and Giles, right?
Yeah.
Because he's not like mad at her. He's just telling her like, come on, be fair.
Well, and that's a parent. If he is the parent, the pseudo parent, right? He would be teaching her the right. You know, she would be the bratty teenager saying things that bratty teenagers are allowed to say. And he would be like, well, no, we should offer her kindness, offer her this, like be more understanding of this. He still doesn't find her a place to live, but you know, sure.
And he says,
Watchers Council just does not give a flying shit about
not a fuck.
The one or maybe two Slayers in an entire generation. What else are you doing? Literally, what else are you doing?
They have to be able to pay for that retreat, okay?
the Cotswolds are not cheap.
Can't be taking money out to put her up in a Hotel Hilton, you know?
You need horseback riding.
It really is weird because it really is like the Watcher Council cares about the Watcher Council, but not even the Watcher who's like working with the Slayer. Like they're like, oh, well, that's stay blessed, whatever. Like they don't seem to. And like, I did forget watching this that like at this point, we have not met the Watcher. There isn't like a we hate them point yet in the show because they're like a non-entity, right? It's just like they're like this, like, you know, oh, it's somewhere
it's like the gallery. They're like a fake entity business.
All these shell companies in the background.
God. Also, I have to point this out. When Faith says to the vampire when they're being ambushed, my dead mother hits harder than...
Yay!
Yeah,
There's the mommy issues.
Dark.
There it is.
So then he tells her about Kakistos. He says his feet are cloven, like the master. And I do like... Another thing is like Buffy's making fun of Faith like her little sister because she says something like, I don't need that. I have faith. Which is like very like drawing parallels between how she'll be with Dawn at first. Is this when she say kissing toast here and I did not put it in my notes? Or is
it is here.
Yes,
I think so.
Because the guy who was battering her said, you know, like we serve Kakistos or whatever.
And she said kissing toast.
Yeah.
And then she says she's going to run and see if khaki trousers, and he's like Kakistos. That's a running gag that I also do like is like, even in season 7, Buffy is saying those names wrong.
Yeah.
Which is very mean.
Because they're gone in an episode. Why remember?
Right. Yeah. Who cares? She's going to kill it very soon. Doesn't fucking matter.
Totally.
And on her way out, she runs into Scott Hope. And Zach, what does he give her that is very upsetting to her?
A claw doll ring, which these are so ugly. I'm sorry. I don't know if they have any significance to anybody else or like
It's an Irish thing.
Yeah, I just don't. I also watch Sister Wives and they give this to each other, and so I think I have a little bit of like bias because of that. But also, Scott, why are you buying her a ring? Y'all haven't agreed to go out. Y'all haven't anything.
Yeah.
And it reads very young Gaby,
yes,
who is excited to get a girlfriend, right? And so does the most right up front.
Look how gay I'm not.
Yeah, lock it down with that promise ring, girl.
Cut to Faith's really shitty hotel room. The owner of it is like, he's like trying to get rent from her.
$18 a day. Like nobody could loan her a $20 bill a day, right? Or maybe give her a lump sum for it. Like this is the only episode I kind of like will give the pass, right? Because they don't really know where Faith is until Giles contacts the Watchers Council. But then she goes from one shitty hotel room to another. You know, she doesn't. It doesn't get better.
Yeah,
it's very easy for the mayor to swoop in.
Yes. Yes.
And he gives her an apartment, right? Like for all the mayor's problems, he treated her better than anybody else and truly cared about her. He did in his own special way with murder, but like he did care about her.
Murder and knives. Every girl's dream.
That's all. What is that like the format where I was like, all girls want is murder and knives.
Just murder and a big old knife.
So Buffy shows up. The hotel owner is like, oh, if you have a guest, it's extra. And this is like, right, Faith starts, like her trauma really starts coming out. Like, she doesn't want to talk about it. She wants Buffy to go away. She wants to leave when she hears about Kakistos. And I think Eliza Dushku I like the switch from like confident, cocky Faith to like, oh fuck, I have to leave. Shut up, go away. Like I'm leaving. I'm leaving right now. I'm scared. This person like did something terrible.
And I'm not going to tell you about it. I'm just going. Yes.
Right.
I'm just headed out.
I like that. And then I feel bad that like, then he fucking shows up at her hotel room and like hearing her like freak out. I do feel really bad, right?
It's like true scared cat, right?
Yes.
Screeching cat. And Buffy has to really quickly take the lead here. And she does a great job, you know?
Yeah. And that's another thing I like is like, right, like Buffy is kind of annoyed at her, but she still is like, oh, nope, I'm getting you out of here. And like when they jump out that window, Buffy like holds her hand or grabs her arm to be like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And you know, like Buffy is never petty, which is where she's not like me. But I appreciate that. Like, that's why she's the hero, right? Because she like puts that all aside once there's like danger.
Yeah, for sure.
And they run into like a warehouse. They get ambushed by Kakistos and
turns out to be his lair. And then there's the big fight out, you know, and Faith is going to actually have to face Kakistos in this moment.
Also, I know it's like they all get beat up and punched, but like when he punches her through that like wooden whatever it is, like that feels rough, right?
Yeah. Anytime the Slayers are incapacitated to that degree, it scares the shit out of me. Like those are to me the scariest moments. Like that's why I think Glory was so scary to me. Was just how weak and unable to win Buffy was. And then here with Faith, like you never see Faith scared.
Yeah.
Maybe you see her scared when she, you know, kills a guy, right?
Right.
This is there was such a range of emotions for Eliza to work through in this episode. And if you think back to like the beginning when she's just like on her high horse at the bar, just like holding court with everybody, she was feeling all of this underneath it.
Right. Yes.
You know? And you can see that when you watch it again. Like Eliza just did such a good job.
Yes. She really is like perfect for Faith. And while the effects look horrendous, I do like that Faith picks up a giant stake, that like the one that she was like hit through to kill him. I think it's like the idea is cool, right?
Yeah. And it's coming into power, you know, like overcoming.
Yes. And I like that. I like that it's like, the thing I like is like she, like you said, she is overcoming. She's coming into power, but we're not being like, that heals everything. Like Faith is still fucked up. But it's like, right now we're starting healing. And we don't really ever get there. Maybe we do by season 7, but this season we do not.
I don't even know if we do by season 7. I just we're
this is just the latest trauma that we're scratching off. This one wasn't that deep.
All of the other characters are just like, tired of hearing about it, so she just doesn't talk about it as much.
God, poor Faith. And then we wrap up at the library, and the scene makes me fucking cry. You can tell Buffy is trying to be casual about it. Buffy's not trying to be like, this was really fucking traumatic. Buffy's like, yep, and then I stabbed him, and that was that. And ugh, the pain and hurt on her face is just breaks my heart. And Giles is such a good dad.
It was very much on her time, which was, I'm glad that Giles did that.
Yes. Well, the brilliance of Buffy and Faith, from the get-go, right, is in their dynamic is that they're constantly running into each other, not physically, but their personalities, their selves, their emotions,
shadows of each other,
and coping and resistance are always running into each other, and pouring into each other. And it's almost like throughout the season, there are 3 characters, Buffy, Faith, and Buffy, Faith, and they just complement each other so well. And I always say it that after the show had wrapped up and we picked up with them 10, 15 years later, I think they would have found a closeness that Buffy didn't have with any of her other friends. And she would have been closest with Faith.
And they would kiss a lot.
They would kiss a lot. They would kiss and slay vampires a lot. Yes.
Kate's like, yes, I've read that fan fiction.
And then they make out.
But so, then the episode's over. What is your favorite scene, Kate?
My favorite scene is definitely the final scene. Oh, not the naked David scene.
Wow, we just shit on it.
No, the scene, the final scene between Giles and Willow and Buffy, and just finding out that the whole spell was a ruse for a very non-mystical need to just talk about your feelings. I just love that so much.
Yeah. And I have 2, and they're going to be both your answers. Zach, what's your favorite?
Faith, right after she has slayed the vampire at the bronze, talking to everybody, and everybody just can't take their eyes off her.
Nice.
Mine is, tie between that both scenes that you both just mentioned. Those are my 2. I love
Be original, Ian. Be original.
I can. I just got to copy you. Favorite outfit, Zach?
Okay. I was going to pick Buffy and her little pink or purple number. I don't remember. But I think I'm going to do Faith's red pants in the hallway look.
Good one.
Damn it. Kate, what's yours?
Mine is a tie between Willow's iconic overalls, the red overalls, and also Buffy's sheer white and pink dip dye top.
Yeah.
Oh, she looks heavenly in that.
She does look great. God, so mine is Faith's outfit in the hallway because I do love the dark red pants.
I'll change mine to booty cheeks at the end. There you go.
Great.
The birthday suit.
Now, how about instead of what we think Dawn would be doing, how do we think Dawn would have reacted to Faith? Because I go back and forth with her. I think she would have absolutely thought Faith was super fucking cool, or hated her because her sister hated her.
No, not hated her at all. No, she would have been obsessed with Faith. She would have been I could see Dawn hanging over the back of the chair and leaning over to be in Faith's face as, Joyce is serving up the food.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think she would want Faith to teach her how to smoke a cigarette. That's what I think.
Just asking a million questions and inappropriate ones. And Joyce has to be calm down, Dawn.
All right, I think you've both sold me on that. Because I kept thinking of there wasn't a lot of room for Dawn to even be in this episode, but I kept thinking of how she would have been in that dinner scene because she absolutely would have been there.
Yeah.
Yes, and then it would have been a great parallel to Faith showing up in season 7 and getting her shin kicked.
Yeah,
or no, that was Buffy got her shin kicked, but getting the cold shoulder from Dawn.
Yes. And she's like, oh, big sister, all grown up. Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. And what grade do we give this episode, Zach?
I'll do a solid A. I love this episode.
When you started, I thought you were going to say C, and I was like, what?
No, I'll go A.
A, okay. Kate?
I think it can't be lower than an A. We get Faith and Trick and naked David Boreanaz's butt.
Yeah, I just don't know what you fix. There's not a whole lot.
It feels right to give it an A.
I don't know if listeners love episodes like this, but I love episodes where everyone's just aggressively agreeing. And yes, same. I give it an A, because again, it's hard with Buffy because, right, there are better episodes, of course, but this episode does everything it needs to do.
Yeah.
And like does it well. So,
Yeah.
And I think it's like a really great intro for Faith. It really does set up their whole relationship in this episode. And this is how they will be throughout the entire series, right?
Forever.
It's like, yeah. And I kind of love that we're able to set all that up, summarize it in fucking like 44 minutes. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both for doing this. Kate, thank you so much. This was so nice having you on finally.
Yeah, thank you. This was a blast. I love Buffy so much.
Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. I have a new YouTube show, which I would
Nice.
love for people to check out. New shows every Monday. They're live on Monday nights, but then you can watch them anytime at The Girl with a Microphone on all those places.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for listening. And if you want to listen to this full recording and the rest of the hour-plus long episodes for our Buffy Season 3 25th anniversary coverage, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Slayerfest98 and subscribe. Subscriptions start as low as $1 a month with the Scoobies tier, which gets you access to our private Facebook group and Discord channel. Our Coven tier, which is $2 a month, gets you access to 1 to 2 new audio episodes a month. And our $5 a month royalty tier gets you access to all our bonus episodes. Check out all the rest of the tiers for more info on what you can get every month. Any and all support is very much appreciated and keeps this queer, nerdy podcast going. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.